first, tell us a little about each of your ensembles. Oscar, let's start with you.
Sure. So I'm the director of Mariachi Los Santos, full mariachi ensemble at Santa Ana High School. The ensemble has actually been around for a very long time, since the year 2001, I believe. And I took on the program 4 years ago. So this is my fourth year teaching. And we do everything that any typical mariachi ensemble would do. We do shows, we do private events. We mostly do community events, especially for the city, like for the mayor or for any we perform for like the local like senator, so most of our performance kind of gears towards the city and the community, but we also like do other events, like we also do festivals and like for example the Musco festival that's coming up. Our students are freshmen to seniors, so they range from ages like 14 till all the way till 18. And most of my students are pretty much in all of our regular music ensembles like orchestra or band, and they're taking mariachi as kind of like as a supplementary course to kind of enhance their skills. Yeah, so hopefully that's a
Fantastic.
good
Yeah.
background of my ensemble.
Oh, definitely. Such a great history with Los Santos. And we've had the ensemble with us as part of our Heartbeat of Mexico Festival in the past, and such a local favorite and such a talented group of young artists. So just really bravo on that program. Tammy, can you tell us a little bit about Mariachi Panteras?
Yeah, so we're a fairly new ensemble. We started this year. A couple years ago, I won the faculty grant, which is a pedagogical innovation grant award in the amount of $5,000 to start the ensemble. And the program initially began when just having a conversation with two of my Latinx students who actually are professional mariachi musicians. And so I was like, okay, let's start this like mariachi ensemble at Chapman. And since we're so close to Santa Ana, and knowing the fact that there's a large like Hispanic population there, as well as knowing the work that Oscar's doing with mariachi ensembles, not just in Santa Ana, but also in Anaheim school districts all over. And the fact that I was born here and raised in Los Angeles, right? We know the population. So I thought, hey, this is a wonderful opportunity to start the mariachi ensemble here at Chapman. So with collaboration, I thought, hey, if Oscar's doing such wonderful work in Santa Ana, I would love to see, opportunities where his students could also see themselves at Chapman. So I was like, okay, so this is part of the big, vision, right? This big plan where we can create this pathway for his students, Santa Ana students, to see themselves at Chapman in the future. So as they continue in his program, they can kind of segue into our program, the program that's going to be available for them. But it's really interesting because most of the students currently enrolled in the class, they are pretty diverse makeup of student populations who are music education majors. So it kind of works beautifully because they're all learning how to also perform mariachi. I would say maybe just 2 students are professional mariachi musicians and the rest are music education majors. So they're learning not only from me as well as Oscar, and also in the future with Susie, where they're going to learn how to create mariachi programs at their future school districts. So just the fact that we had this for 1 year, we got donations from many different groups and organizations, and we're purchasing more instruments, and it's turned into more of a inclusive ensemble for many students who are feeling a little bit lost out of place at at Chapman, and who want to be not learning just things by, traditional way of music education, but learning things orally as well. So in that process, they're discovering their identity. At the same time, it's really empowering my Latinx students to see themselves, in part entrapment. So it's really, really awesome.
Oh, most definitely. You're planting like really amazing seeds that are being watered by the community. And I'm just so excited to see what those students are going to go out into the world and do and make more of these programs. And yeah, it like gets me hyped up. I'm very excited. I'm like, yes, more, always. Absolutely. Fantastic, Tammy. Anthony, can you share more about your program?
So first, thanks for having me. I work at Garey High School, as you've said. We started our mariachi actually a few weeks before we went on lockdown. This was an idea that I had a few years ago. I actually graduated from Garey High School, and this community is predominantly Latinx. And I always wondered, why didn't we have one at our school as well? I went to my principal and said, "Hey, can you buy these guitars for us?" He's like, "Well, I think we could do that." I said, "I want to start a mariachi." Mariachi? He's like, "I'll buy the uniforms. I'll pay for everything if you do that." So we started that work. It took us some time to actually get it off the ground. And sad to say that the last music that this room heard was the first time that mariachi ever played together. And just about 20 minutes ago, they were here for the first time since, and having our first rehearsal back. So yeah, it was a really, really big thing for this community to finally get some music that represents the culture of our students. And we're so happy to get it going. We can't wait to see where it takes us. We have a marching band and a jazz band and all those other ensembles that our students participate in as well. But to have something that represents the culture of our community is so fantastic. So that's how we got ours started.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much, Anthony. Susie, tell us about Las Colibrí and your journey.
Yes, well, I think that, hearing everybody talk about what they're doing in their local communities and the institutions is making me think about being a young mariachi, student and a musician, not really technically trained, classically trained a little bit when I was a little girl, but I'm so grateful for having the opportunity to become a mariachi. And even without the supports that are existing today, which I'm so grateful for all of you on this Zoom, because we really need more educators out there and people who, just really see the reality of our community, right? Of who we serve, and also how beneficial this can be to their future. Mariachi was a way that I was able to navigate my own education life and my journey. So anyway, I came from Rowland Heights, California, who was a very diverse community, sort of, but there was no mariachi program here. So my parents really were the ones who catapulted and researched to find me some mariachi teachers. And that's how I was able to do it, because of their support, right? My parents were they're Chicanos. They were born here. So I didn't even have immigrant parents. However, they were very connected to their culture. And many Chicanos are, they just don't know how to navigate that part of their life either. So this is also very good for their children to be able to have these experiences as Chicanos or Mexican Americans in this city, in this country, because their parents want to be, more culturally connected, but sometimes don't know how. And mariachi music really does that. It did it for me. So, long history of learning how to play and being involved in different ensembles since I was about 12 years old. But, I hear you're mentioning Mariachi Divas is going to be the closing mariachi for this festival. It's the first time I know that. So that's amazing. I was a mariachi diva for 10 years. Cindy, Shea, and I go way back before she created Mariachi Divas. We were like pioneers in the same, we wanted to create a mariachi, Mariachi Las Alondras. We found Cindy Shea and we recruited her to be in our band. It was one of the few all-females that were bands that were at the time created, and to be the leader of Mariachi Divas. And I was so lucky and so grateful to have that experience for 10 years. On 2008, when I left, the year later, people were just still like, "Susie, come on, you got to keep, mariachi going of your own." And I was like, "No, I don't know if I want to do that." I was working on a solo album. And, I think it was just like, yeah, you're right. Like, I miss being around this camaraderie of women. It's just such a wonderful experience for women to be empowered together. And I have been taught in an all-girls Catholic school, Spanish, and I was a career counselor. So I really got to see firsthand how youth and women are, very just different when they're in their own element with their own sex. And it's just like, you see how they excel in a different way. So I'm really happy that again, I'm gonna bring my friends together, and we started with just 4 girls, and I started to do a little research and realized that traditionally Mariachi Vargas started at as a very small ensemble with no trumpets, just stringed instruments, and they started with 4 instruments as well. And I thought, well, then I could do this. Then yeah, it's okay to not have a trumpet, because that was ingrained in our brain. I had only seen mariachi with trumpets, and so I thought I'm going to try something new. And we started to play without trumpets, and I just going back to the old traditional style of how it was originally, I guess, envisioned, or just, naturally how mariachi started and then evolved, which is beautiful. The contemporary mariachi with trumpets and 14, 15 people. But Colibrí has really stuck to the script of being traditional. And that means it's like we're traditional, but non-traditional, right? We don't wear the traditional mariachi charro suit. We wear this kind of, these dresses, these colorful, celebration of Mexican culture from the 40s and 50s of like the golden age of cinema. But we really embrace who we are. And that is feminine, intelligent, talented women that have been, some of us have been highly trained, and others have been just, like me, sort of more trained on the streets. But nevertheless, we are together, and we've been together now almost 10 years. So I'm excited. We're just, we're very LA, I feel. We're just definitely, we've taken like our home here, and really part of our community. We do so much work for nonprofits, and we're part of the Ford Theater, which is very LA. We've been doing concerts there for over 10 years. I've produced them. Viva la Tradición series. So Las Colibrí is just like, it's very special because we're different. And I think we've created something that people weren't used to seeing. And I'm very proud that these group of women have come together. And of course, you deal with the ebb and flow of women and being pregnant and being mothers and having husbands, and it's a wild ride when you have an all-female band, but it's very rewarding. And nothing like standing on stage with even 4 women, but we grew over time, and 12 women is the max. Like, wow, the feeling, that energy that you get. And again, just the level of intelligence that comes from 12 women when 95% or 99% at one time are educated with bachelor's, master's, degrees. And so we're talking about like, serious power up on a stage, not only musically, but also in a separate part of their lives, and professionals, policemen, teachers, you name it. We've had girls in our bands that are very, very, very well ingrained in their communities. Yeah.
So important to be a part of the community and representative of the community, but also find these spaces to empower and have safe spaces for women to find their voices in this music is so amazing and so powerful and so important. And so I just appreciate you so much, Susie. And I'm so excited for everyone to see the ensemble a little bit later, and your gorgeous costumes and the beautiful, strong, amazing, powerful music that you're going to be sharing with us later. So just thank you. I just appreciate you so much.